Morgan Dreamis here with Kerrelyn Sparks. I want to call you maybe the queen of vampire romance, or what's your official title when it comes to vampires? Writer extraordinaire?
I like bestseller.
There you go. Bestseller, Kerrelyn Sparks. And you write the Love at Stake series.
Yes.
Incredibly popular.
Thank you.
We're getting into the 12 books, and I hear that there's even more to come.
Yes, I'm about to sign a contract for up to book 16.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I love, you write vampires, and vampires are so hot right now, but you do some really special things with your vampires that you're not going to see anywhere else. And one of those is there's certain drugs and drinks that kind of alter what it means to be a vampire. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, what we have is the vampire fusion cuisine, because you can get awfully tired of having the same meal night after night for 500 years. And so they wanted a little variety, so they took the synthetic blood and they mix it with other things. So you have bubbly blood, which is champagne, and synthetic blood. It's for the special vampire occasions. Then you have things like Blisky, which is blood and whiskey. That's a favorite among the Scottish vampires. And you have chocolate, which is popular with the lady vampires because it's synthetic blood and chocolate.
It's sweet, so
yes.
Who wouldn't want some? I personally wouldn't want it, but if I was a vampire, I'm sure I would love it.
Well, can you imagine living without chocolate? I mean, that's enough not to want to be, have eternal life. You don't want to give up chocolate. So they have chocolate. And then there's Blood Light, if you've had too much chocolate. Blood Light, which is low in blood sugar and cholesterol.
Good. So even vampires have to think about their figures.
Well, you could be stuck with it for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and then you also have the stay awake drug.
Yes.
And I think this is really interesting because, as we all know, vampires, immortality, don't age, except when they take this drug, and they actually will start to show more of their age very, very quickly. Within the matter of days, they can lose years off of their appearance, which I love because it adds something really special, especially if you were young when you turned, which we have seen before. We have seen the teenagers turned. I wouldn't want to be a 15-year-old for eternity.
Yes.
I think it's especially because you have maybe an adult mentality.
That did happen with a character, Ian, which is in book 5, All I Want for Christmas is a Vampire. He was mortally wounded in a battle when he was only 15 years old, and that's way too young to die. But then he's stuck in a 15-year-old body for 500 years, and he can't find a woman because
right, because he's 15. That's
he looks 15. And so the stay awake drug, I came up with that because that's a great thing for the vampires to be able to be awake during the day. But I think anything always becomes a lot more interesting if it causes some sort of vulnerability or there's some kind of price you have to pay for it. And the price you pay for taking the stay awake drug is that you will age a year for each night or each day that you stay awake. And so a lot of the vampires don't want to do it. They don't want to age. If you were changed at the age of 35.
If you're a sexy 35-year-old, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but you don't want to all of a sudden be 40 or something. But with Ian, in Ian's case, he was 15, so he took it, I think, for 12 days, and he aged 12 years and became this big hunky guy, and so he was ready for romance.
6'2" and
it was painful for him, but he wanted his own romance, and so he finally got it.
I think that's great. And you mentioned something with Ian, and we see it with a couple of your characters, is they were actually turned either during battle or during war. They were wounded, and you have one of your characters saving them, but as he saves them, he also has to convert them into vampires. So we have a lot of real warriors, not just warriors in the sense of, they're protective and they're fighters, but they've actually gone through hand-to-hand war, been wounded in major battles, which I think is really interesting because it really adds a spin on their character.
Yes, a lot of the older vampires, they were warriors. They're the good guys, they're the heroes in my books. There's bad vampires too, the malcontents. But for the good vampires, I thought that made them more of a hero, that they were already warriors, and they didn't choose to be a vampire, they just chose to stay alive, to keep fighting for good. So that made them more heroic in my mind.
I agree, absolutely. But we don't only get vampires in your world. We also will see shapeshifters, werewolves, and we will also see humans with psychic abilities. And so you have a lot of different, I don't want to call them creatures, but you do have different supernatural elements in your stories.
Book 7, Forbidden Nights with a Vampire, starred my first werewolf hero. That was Phil Jones. And then, what was it, book 9, I believe? Eat, Pray, Love. Pray with an E. That starred my werepanther, Carlos, the Brazilian werepanther.
Werepanther, yes, absolutely. So not werewolf, werepanther. Sorry about that.
Yes.
But shapeshifter. And I think one of the things that all of the having the supernatural power does for your characters is that there's a lot of sacrifice. They have lost family over it when they're turned, or when a friend or something finds out that a human might have psychic powers. There really is a sense of loss because it isolates them from other people. And again, the psyche for these characters to go through that loss and to go through that sacrifice it's really great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think there always should be a price to pay that makes it more dramatic. And of course, that's what we're looking for in our books is, high drama. And like in the last book, Vampire Mind, where Shanna was finally transformed, she gets eternal life with her husband, who she loves, but she loses the ability to see her own children during the day. And as a mom, I think that is just so painful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And what are you going to do? You can't keep them awake all night, and they've got their lives in school and friends and things. So they're definitely, there's that balance. The balance that all vampires need to have in their lives, right?
Yes.
I have one more question for you, and that is, some of your characters have been alive for 500 plus years, and I have to ask you, if you had their lifespan, what are some things that you would be very interested throughout history and seeing and doing?
Oh gosh, you could go anywhere. That's probably the thing I most envy about them is their ability to teleport. If you can imagine being in Paris in just a matter of seconds, they could travel anywhere, and you could learn all kinds of things. You could experience all kinds of things. If you wanted to be a chef, you could be a master chef for a while. If you wanted to learn fencing, you could be a master swordsman for a while. You have that much time to experience all kinds of different things. You can go different places, meet different famous people. You could have met, Mark Twain and then gone over, you could move around and meet famous people.
So that's what you would with eternity. You would do just kind of as many things as you could and meet great people.
Sure.
I like it. I would too. I agree.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for talking with me today. And I know you've got a tremendous amount of fans out there with all your bestsellers. And
thank you,
we're
Morgan.
just going to get more Love at Stake books. Can't wait.
Thank you very much.